Hola a todos, soy Mike. En el video de hoy vamos a aprender la diferencia entre los pronombres de objeto y los pronombres de objeto indirecto. Hi everybody, I'm Mike. In this video, we're going to learn the differences between the object pronouns and indirect object pronouns. So in this video, we're going to talk about a very important subject. This is a very important subject in Spanish grammar. And this is the difference between the direct and the indirect object pronouns. This is a very important topic. And if you're learning Spanish, of course, understanding these kind of pronouns will help you use the language more naturally and accurately. So let's talk about this. And let's start with the direct object pronouns. What are these kind of pronouns? These pronouns replace the direct object in a sentence. That's it. Which is the noun that directly receives the action of the verb. I have a subject verb object sentence. I love you, or I love my wife. My wife would be the object in a sentence which is receiving the action of the verb. So I can replace my wife with her, which is the object pronoun, right? I love her. In Spanish, we do pretty much kind of the same. And we have, of course, a list of direct object pronouns, just as in English. And we have the direct object pronoun in Spanish and the corresponding direct object pronoun in English. So for me, I, right? We have me. For you, in its singular and formal close relationships form, which is tú, would be te. For him and for it, in its masculine singular form, it would be lo. For her and for it, in its feminine singular form, it would be la. For us, it would be nos. For you, as in you all, like ustedes, formal plural, it would be les. For them, masculine plural would be los, and for them, feminine plural, it would be las. So as you can see, we have both the direct object pronoun in Spanish and the ones that we use in English. So what's the idea here? The idea here is to fully understand how it works in Spanish, because it works kind of like in English, but with a little twist. So I have some examples here, and we're going to see these examples. So we have two columns. We have the left column, a subject, verb, object sentence. The structure of these sentences is subject, verb, object. And the right column, we have the same sentence using the direct object pronoun. And you'll see what happens. So if I have veo a Juan, this veo a Juan is the same as if I say yo veo a Juan. It's exactly the same. Remember, we can drop the pronoun in Spanish because the conjugation of the verb already tells us who are we talking about. So in this case, the subject verb object, it would be I see Juan. Yo veo a Juan, right? I can replace a Juan with the direct object pronoun in Spanish. In this case, I just say lo veo. And as you can see, in English, we use the direct object pronoun just after the verb. In Spanish, we use it before the verb. Sometimes we can use it after the verb, but for now, let's say that we're going to use it just before. And same thing, I can drop the pronoun. I can say yo lo veo. I can say yo lo veo. I can say that, but I can drop the pronoun. So lo veo. And as you can see, we use lo for him. Lo veo, for him. Right? Next sentence. Tú compras el libro. This is subject, verb, object. you buy the book. Tú compras el libro. But I can say, tú lo compras. Tú, right, is you. I can drop the pronoun. And I can say, lo compras. You buy it. Lo compras. Lo is replacing el libro. Same thing here. Él escuchó la música. He listened to the music. He listened to the music. Él escuchó la música. Subject, verb, object. And we just change. I can drop the pronoun. La escuchó. He listened to it. La escuchó. Music, la música, feminine. La escuchó. Direct object pronoun. Él la escuchó. Tomamos café. We drink coffee. Nosotros tomamos café. Subject, verb, object. Nosotros tomamos café. And in English, we drink coffee. But you can also say we drink it. Same thing. We're replacing coffee with it. And here, nosotros, I can skip nosotros. I can drop nosotros. Lo tomamos. We can say that. Lo tomamos. And lo is replacing café. Ella llamó a Marta. She called Marta. Oh, we can say Marta. Marta. And I can say she called her, in which her is replacing Marta. Martha. Ella la llamó. And of course, we can drop the pronoun. La llamó. And last but not least, ellos ven las películas. They see the movies. Subject, verb, object. Ellos las ven. They see them. Las replaces las películas. Be careful with a couple things here. You may think that this last is exactly this last. No, this is last as the movies. This is a definite article, and this is last as the subject direct object pronoun. And the difference is that this one comes just before a noun, and this one comes just before a verb. That's the difference. That's one of the differences. The other thing is that lo tomamos a él, he, lo tomamos a ello, it. What would be? It depends on the context. So, of course, if I just all of a sudden say lo tomamos, I'm going to ask, ¿tomamos what? ¿Tomamos what? ¿Qué tomamos? Because I don't know. Then we can just get that in context and everything. So as you can see, we know that we're talking about a direct object pronoun in Spanish because it comes just right before the verb. And it's replacing the noun we're talking about. And of course, we're also dropping the pronoun, which is something that we use and we do a lot in Spanish. So this is basically what we have as direct object pronouns. This is the first part, and it's fully understood, right? Now, let's take a look at indirect object pronouns. And the indirect object pronouns replace the indirect object in a sentence. These ones are going to replace not the object, but the indirect object, which is the recipient of the action or the one who benefits from it. Right? This is important to understand because they are kind of like the direct object pronouns in Spanish. But there are subtle differences. And let's take a look at the indirect object pronouns in Spanish. So I have the indirect object pronoun and the corresponding in English. So if I'm talking about to me, I say me. If I use to you as tú, singular informal close relationship, we use te. To him, to her, or to you formal, usted, it would be le. To us, nos. To you all, or ustedes, plural, or to them, regardless it is feminine, masculine, feminine, we use less. So as you can see, they are similar to the ones that we had for the direct object pronouns. Are similar, not the same. So this is where we can get confused a little bit. So let's check. Let's take a look at some sentences. I'm going to remove my, I'm going to remove my video from here right now. So once again, we have the left column, the subject, verb, object, sentence, the structure, and the right column we have the indirect object pronoun structure. So in this case, we have doy el libro a Juan. Yo doy el libro a Juan. I gave the book to Juan. Subject, verb, object. But I can say le doy el libro. This le is the indirect object pronoun. It goes before the verb, saying that I'm the object pronoun, the object in this sentence would be el libro, right? Because this is where the action falls. But it also falls to an indirect object, which is Juan. And I change Juan for le. I gave him the book. I give him the book. Thing is that in English, we still use the object pronoun. In Spanish, we use the indirect object pronoun. And it goes before the verb. Le doy el libro. Yo le doy el libro. ¿A quién? A él. Because I'm talking about él, which is Juan. Right? I'm changing Juan for le doy el libro a Juan. This is something that we can see a lot in Spanish. If I say, tú escribes una carta a María, you write a letter to María, right? The subject is tú, the verb is escribes, and the object is una carta. But there's an indirect object, which is María, who is going to be the recipient of the letter. You write a letter to María, you see? So when I turn this using the indirect object pronoun, I use le for ella. Remember, we have the table, le a ella, and le escribes una carta. You write her a letter. ¿A quién? A ella. This doesn't have to be in the sentence. This is just as a guide, right? Just as a guide. We just say, le doy el libro. Le escribes una carta. And this is implying that you're writing a letter to her. Her being, in this case, María. Él trajo comida para mí. He brought food for me. You see, these are sentences in which we have subject, verb, object, and an indirect object, which is the recipient of the action, the thing that's happening. Who's getting benefit from that, right? So in this case, it would be él. I can just say, I just change it. Me trajo comida. Because the food is for me. Me trajo comida a mí. He brought me food. Ella prepara una sorpresa para ti. She prepares a surprise for you. Subject, verb, object, indirect object. So we say ella te, because it's for you. Tú, ella te prepara una sorpresa. To whom? To you. She. Funny thing, both sentences in Spanish, in English, are exactly the same. And we have two different sentences in Spanish. Funny thing. Ofrecemos ayuda a usted. Nosotros ofrecemos ayuda a usted. We offer help to you. We can say, le ofrecemos ayuda. To whom? A usted. We offer help to you. Exactly the same. And in this case, out of these two sentences, I would stick to this one. Le ofrecemos ayuda. Instead of ofrecemos ayuda a usted. Or if I say le ofrecemos ayuda a usted. Just being like emphatic, you see? And we have ellos ofrecen apoyo a la comunidad. They offer support to the community. They offer support to the community. And les ofrecen a ellos. Les ofrecen apoyo. They offer them support. They offer them support. So this is the way the indirect object pronoun works. And as you can see, the differences between the direct and the indirect object pronoun are clear. Although some of the pronouns are the same. You see, when you compare both object pronouns, the direct and the indirect object pronouns, you see similarities. They look alike. Not quite. There are differences, and that can be confusing for us. But the thing is to understand the way they work in the structure of the sentences. So as you can see, the direct object pronouns, they replace the direct object immediately. Yo lo veo. They replace the direct object. That's clear. Whereas the indirect object pronouns, they're replacing the indirect object, as we can see here. So this is very important to fully understand in order to improve your skills in Spanish. So let's in a nutshell, right? Direct object pronouns replace the noun that directly receives the action of the verb, such as lo for it or him, right? Lo vi, a él, or a ello. Yo lo vi. I saw him, lo vi, or I saw it, lo vi. Whereas the indirect object pronouns replace the recipient of the action or the one who benefits from that action, such as le for to him or her. Le di el libro. I gave her the book. Or le di el libro, I gave him the book. Right? And remember, the tricky thing is that in English, both are the same object pronouns. In Spanish, there are differences. So I hope this is going to be helpful in order to clarify the difference between direct and indirect object pronouns in Spanish. So that was it for this video. I hope this is going to be clear for you. It is important for you to make sure that you fully understand this concept, because this is a very interesting concept and very important concept to learn in Spanish in order to fully understand Spanish. I would say that aside from verb conjugation, that's one of the hardest parts for people to learn and understand when learning Spanish. So hopefully this is going to be helpful for you. So remember, now the idea is for you to start practicing. Remember, repetition, association, and exposure. Those are the three keys to learning properly another language. And remember to read a lot, to listen a lot, and of course to start speaking. If you like this video, if you have questions, watch this video as many times as you need. And if you still have questions, leave a comment. I'll reply as soon as possible. If you like this video, you know what to do. Remember, please share with your friends, groups, social media, and if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Click the bell button in order to get notifications, and that's also going to help you in order to participate during the chats that we have during the live classes. So and of course, that's a good way to show your appreciation for our channel and to support our channel. So looking forward to seeing you in another video. Sorry for my throat, I've been kind of sick these days, but hopefully that hasn't been an issue. So looking forward to seeing you in future videos. Sigan estudiando, sigan aprendiendo y nos vemos en un próximo video. Bye bye.